Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Robert Bowerly for this one. Amy controls a grizzly bears, and she wants to cast Dargo. Nick, unfortunately, controls no creatures, and he has a ward of bones. Is it possible for Amy to play the Dargo by sacrificing the grizzly bears? Alright, so in order to answer this question, let's first take a look at this rule here, which says that in order to begin to cast a spell, there needs to be some rule or effect that's allowing you to cast that spell, and there can't be any rules or effects that are prohibiting you from casting it. So with regards to that first part, we do have this rule here, which indicates that you are allowed to cast a creature spell during all of the times when you would normally expect to be able to cast a creature spell. So we're A-okay there. Of course, the second part is where we're going to run into a little bit of a problem. Of course, Amy has more creatures than Nick, and that means that the Ward of Bones is going to prohibit her from casting any creature spells. Now, let's notice that this check gets made as the spell begins to be cast, and that happens at the very beginning of the process of casting a spell, way before Amy gets a chance to pay the costs to cast that spell, which is when she would go down to the same number of creatures as Nick. And so, with that being the case, it's not possible for Amy to cast the Dargo. Alright, now if you had some pretty advanced rules knowledge, then you might be thinking about this rule here, and wondering why it doesn't apply to this situation to help Amy out. And that's actually a really good question. The point here is really subtle, so let's take a close read at this rule and we'll see if we can uncover what the issue is. Let's notice that it says, if an effect would prohibit a player from casting a spell with certain qualities, so far so good. This is exactly what's going on here. The continuous effect from the Ward of Bones is prohibiting Amy from casting a spell with certain qualities, that being creature spells. The next part is where the issue is, though. And some of the choices that are made during the process of casting that spell have the potential to change those qualities. Nothing that Amy does during the process of casting the Dargo spell is going to change it from being a creature spell to not a creature spell. And so therefore, there's no choice she makes that falls under the definition provided by this rule. And that's the reason why this rule does not apply here and cannot help Amy to cast this Dargo. In case you're wondering what this rule actually is good for, then we could take a look at something like these bestow creatures. As you can see, this creature has a special property, in that if you cast it using its bestow cost, then it's going to stop being a creature and instead be an enchantment aura. So if we had a Ward of Bones that was preventing us from casting creature spells, but okay with us casting enchantment spells, then we could begin to cast one of these bestow creatures with the intention of casting it as an aura. And if we proceeded to cast it this way, then the game would allow us to do that just fine. And so that would be an application of what this rule actually is intended to do. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great day.